All right, good morning, everyone. We're back to our CC2 lecture. CC2 Data Programming 2 and the session 2019-2020 session. If you can recall, we really stopped at the repetition statement. We have already stated that control structures are divided into we have three different kind of control structures, which are the sequence. We have discussed this. The sequence, the branching or selection. If we like making choices, and the last one is repetition or looping or iteration, if you like. This is the content of control structures: sequential arrangement, branching, selection, all these, and then repetition. I've already discussed the two. So we are now to discuss repetition or looping or iteration in this lecture. This is not needed. Okay. So repetition statement in Java here we're going to introduce repetition statement. We pick up essentials of counter, control repetition, the while loop, which is while repetition, and then the for repetition statements. So for the first time, we introduce repetition. Repetition in Java provide three kinds of repetition statements, which are sometimes repetition is being called iteration, and sometimes we call it looping statements. So the looping or iteration enables program to perform statement repeatedly. This is what I want us to understand. It performs statements or kind of execution repeatedly as long as a condition that is this condition, as long as a condition remains true, it performs operation repeatedly. I hope it is understood. And then the condition is called the loop continuation condition. So in as much as loop continuation condition remains true, then the looping or the iteration continues. It continues execution without stopping. So that is looping. Looping is nothing but executing a particular portion of a program over and over without stopping until when it reaches a particular condition which is not satisfied. In as much as condition is being satisfied, then it has to continue executing. And then we have this kind of repetition statements, which is the while, the do while, and then the for statement and the enhance for statement, which we are going to discuss all of them here. We are going to start with while statement, and then we pick up we take the do while statement, the for statement, and then the enhance for statements. So the looping statement or iteration statement or repetition statement are of these categories. So the while statement and the for statement, they perform action or group of action in their bodies 0 or more times. When you declare a loop while statement or for statement, they perform operation within the body at which the for or while statement has been declared. They perform that operation either 0 or more times. If the looping continuation condition is initially false, If the looping is false initially, then the action will not execute. If initially the way that the developer sets the looping statement, the looping continuation condition is false, then no anyone will be executed. Maybe in the code we will explain that. Otherwise, it will get executed and then it checks again for the looping continuation condition, and that's how it continues. The do while statement performs the action or group of action in its body one or more times. This also maybe we describe it in using the code. You understand it maybe in the code section. So there are some essentials of counter control repetition. We need to understand some essential things here. Here we use the while repetition statement to familiarize the element required to perform counter control repetition, which requires, of course, whenever you are performing repetition, there has to be counter. Counter must count and determine the number of executions based on condition. That is it. So the first thing you need to understand at counter essentials and counter control essential repetition is, one, you need to understand the control variables of the looping counter. Of course, you need to understand the looping counter. You need to understand the initial values of the control variable. That is the initial value of the control variable. This control variable will be initialized. When it is initialized, then you understand the value it has been initialized with. So, and then for the control variable, the increment by which the control variable is modified each time, that is the increment you'll be modifying each time you. And then loop. So you also need to take care of, or need to take note of the looping, that is the iteration of the loop, and then the loop continuation condition. If the loop should continue, what is the condition? Is the condition satisfied or not? So let's take an example here. The while loop for the first time. This is the format of our while loop. It says while expression, then statement. While expression, then statement. Okay, for the first time, we wanted to take let's pick up an example here. This is a program that counts. A program that counts numbers from 1 to 10. From 1 to 10, and using while loop. So let's begin by creating a particular project here, I think, and then we give not project, really a class. So we create a class here and give it name class, and let's say while loop. So I read the main, and then I finish it up. So this is the class. Let me increase the font size to something reasonable, so you see what I'm typing, please. Editor into text. The appearance, I think. Okay, 24. I think this will work. Okay, good one. Alright, so this is a class. I think it's now visible, and then the class ends here. End of the class, and then we have end of the main method. Okay, so hit this. I don't need this. I'm going to write my stop. So we're going to write a program. Let me maybe write the question here. Write a program that displays numbers from 1 numbers serially from 1 to 10. Alright, so this is the question. So let's now solve the problem right now. We are going to use the while loop, not for loop for now, the while loop. And we have mentioned 3 things here, 3 essential things. Number 1, control variable. The control variable, the variable that controls the loop. So declare initialize control variable. This is where we declare and initialize our control variable. So we take note of control variable, and initialization of control variable. So we've seen 2 essential things here. To declare and initialize the control variable. This is the control variable, which we call counter. You can use any variable name. And then this is the value of the counter, which is the value of the control variable. So our while loop begins from here, and then this is what we call the loop continuation condition. The condition for this loop centered around within what is within this bracket. If the condition is true, it continues executing. Otherwise, it will not execute. So and then increment control variable. This is the increment control variable, because when the variable runs from here to this point and you want it to run again, this remains as 1, and then if you want it to run again, you have to increment from 1 to 2. So when it runs for the first time, let me explain for the first time, I'm sorry. When you write a program like this, counter is the control variable, and initialization of the control variable is done by 1. It has been initialized to 1. Then you now introduce while, then within the bracket you introduce your continuation condition, and then the continuation condition says counter less than or equals to 10. That is, continue executing this statement, within the while block whenever the counter is less than or equals to exactly 10. And then system.out.println printf. I will explain this printf in the code. And this is the type of the printf, and then counter. This is the format you wanted, and then counter. Counter means you are printing out what you have initialized. So then here you increment counter plus to counter equals to counter plus plus, means counter equals to counter plus. So let's go by doing this. First of all, you introduce a variable called counter, or count anything you like. Okay, you can say number if you like. Then you introduce your while statement, and then you close. This is end of the while statement. End of the while statement, and here introduce. So this is your maybe when I'm done, I'll write all that. So the condition is that we wanted to count from 1 to 10. So if counter is less than or exactly equals to 10, I can see if I don't want to introduce less than or equals to, I can come up with 11. So it stopped at 10 because I say less than 11 since it is an int. But then since this let me go by this. I think it will assist you then by understanding. So this is the condition. So if this occurs, what will happen? I want to print out the counter. So sys out system.out. But print, this time around I'm not printing ln, I'm printing f, and we'll discuss it right here. So as you can see, when I say printf, it brings a format. So when you introduce printf, whenever you want to format your printing, I repeat. So there are some kind of things you need to understand here. If you are formatting if you are formatting your printout, and then you're printing an int, then you introduce .d. If you are printing double number, you introduce if it is double number, you introduce f as your formatting string. And then if you are printing string, you introduce s, and if you are printing character, you introduce. Maybe we will discuss this in a different class or video, so we don't digress from what we are doing. But then let me just use it, because today we're going to use this book, Java How to Program. Java How to Program. So they use it in their sample codes. So I'm going to use that. This is what we'll do if you are printing a particular, if you are formatting the printing for an int. So here you print out what you want to print, which is counter. So now an example here. Let's see this code, please. This is the counter, the while control, the loop control, and its initialization. I introduced the loop control and also initialized. And here initialize to 1, and then this is the loop continuation condition. Loop continuation condition. Is the loop continuation condition. It's a condition that says continue doing this loop if counter is less than or equals to 10. And then this is the statement I wanted to print out. To be printed out on the console. Okay, and then now a question: when I print it out, I have to have this. I have to this. The last thing here is this: the loop continuation condition that determines if loop should continue. This is the loop continuation condition. And the last thing is this: the loop. Each iteration of the loop. We need to determine something for the loop. For the initial value of the control variable, the increment by which, all right, and then the loop. How do you want it to continue looping? This is the question. So you want to continue looping by incrementing only one increment control variable. That's what I'm saying. The increment control variable here, you are incrementing by 1. Then you now say counter plus plus, or if you like, you introduce the other way round, plus plus counter. They are all same. They are same. So this is now the loop, the increment control variable. Increment control variable. These are stated. All these terminologies are stated here in the Java How to Program 10th edition and page 105. Page 105. All those things are as stated here. Please go through it. The while loop. Let me move to the page. Okay, let me check from the content, table of content, so you know what I'm doing, please. Let me just say repetition. The while repetition, good one. So this is all those things were explained here. The while repetition. I'm trying to check on the while repetition. Okay, I think I'm at the place now. Alright, the while repetition. Okay, not do while. Alright, essential content. Alright, this is where I'm looking for. Please, 159, 153. That's the page number. All those things were explained here. The control variable, initial variable, increments, and then all that, an example here. So here, when I run my program, back to the code. When I run the program, look at how it printed. It printed numbers serially 1 to 10. But then we are going to use this format to format our output. Look at it. I need some spaces. If I give it 2 spaces like this from here, then it's going to print out those spaces is specified from the format. Can you see what I've done here? Actually, print format is very much needed for us to understand what it is. So now, if I want to see the result in the vertical order, I will do something like I will just introduce /n. So /n means create a line. So you see the result in the vertical order this way, just by touching paste. So now the idea is how are we able to create output that counts number from 1 to 10. So please understand this. We said anything that has been written within the loop. If nothing has been written here, then there's nothing you will see. You only initialize a variable to 1 and then you print it. Now, let me give you an example. If I should print out your name, or let's say, let me print out my name. So please ask yourself, what is going to be the result of this program? I initiated a counter here. Anyway, I have to increase the counter, because if I run it this way, there's nothing that will increment the counter. So if I want to print out this, I will then I have to increment the counter plus. What I wanted here is a counter plus, right? So I initialize counter to 1, and then my looping variable, my looping condition is that print out the block of this while from here to here, whenever in as much as this, print out the block from here to here in as much as the condition is correct, that is, the condition satisfies. So when it print out this first statement, it will check on this and then it will increment it. When it increments it, counter becomes 2. So then this condition satisfies again, it will print out again, and so that means I'm going to print out my name 10 times. That should be the output of this program. Can you see what we have done? So please, a question here. Can we serialize this? Can we introduce a serial number and we count it as it has been done here in the counter? Of course, yes, we can introduce the serial number. So how do we introduce? I want it to be seen 1 dot ashir 2 dot. Anyway, let me change this to maybe castle. Can you see castle up to 10 times? This is what the statement means. So now I want to introduce situation whereby when you see castle, you see 1 dot castle like this, 2 dot castle, itemization. How do you do that? Okay, I can do that by introducing the counter here. I append it as a concatenation, so it keep printing the iteration at the same time. It will iterate and print. So when I do, can you see? So please let us introduce a kind of a dot here, so we know that we are itemizing correctly. Okay, I'm sorry, I introduced dot error is dot out. That's why it is giving us a red dot out. So let me do this. When you run it, this is where my console is. Can we see something here? 1, 2, 3. So this we are counting we are picking up the counter from the counting, and then at the same time we are printing out something here. So please let's try to. I just brought this for you to understand. Whatever that is print that is mentioned here as a statement or written as a statement is going to be printed out over and over until when the condition is not satisfied. So let me bring back the statement I've caught here, and I think I can format this by using this, and so I don't have to do many things here. Formatting. So on the console is remove console. So this is now what we have written. Let's explain this code. This code initialize the counter to 1, and the counter here, the condition for the while is that the counter, the loop should continue executing if on a condition if counter is less than or equals to 10. If counter is not greater than 10, continue. So that is the meaning. And then we started from 1. So when it is here, it will print 1. And then at this point we increment 1 by 1. It becomes 2. So then it will check the condition again for it to, but before then it will increment this to become 2, and then it will check the condition again, and it prints out this again. It becomes 2, then it increment 2 and increment it here. It prints until when it reaches 10, then it stops printing. So let's see what we are going to see here. This is exactly what we have done all the time. So now this is the simple explanation of while loop. And let's see other variant of while loop. Looping forever. At times you may mistakenly or deliberately create a loop that will count that will continue counting without stopping. That's looping forever. It will not stop. It will not stop. Probably the developer might do this as a result of a mistake in assigning the condition here. So when you say all we are trying to get here is just true, so once it is true, the condition will is satisfied, and then it will continue. So let me quickly create another class here, and we'll give it forever forever loop, and then so let's go by end of class and then end of the method, and also here. So here, if I want to print out, let's say I want to print out 2, I want to print from, let's just print out castle, for example, without stopping. That is endless loop. So we start by introducing our counter here, and we initialize it to a given number, which is 1, and then the while statement, end of the while block. So the blocks start from the opening brace to the closing brace, and then here we give out a condition that continue doing this. Alright, we're not giving the condition here. When you say true, that means it's always true. So if I print out something here, let's say castle forever loop. Okay, so I increment counter plus plus. So when I run this, it keep printing. That's the meaning of this flipping you see. It flicker. It's this means it keep printing and it will not stop. You may not understand this now. Let me quickly stop it by maybe control break. Not this. Let me see something here. Okay, I wanted to introduce something for you to understand. Maybe we at the same time print counter here plus. Okay, then I introduce the space here. When I run again, alright, it's now you understand what we're doing here. Please look at it. These numbers moving, this will never stop. This is around, is it 45,000, this 50,000, 60,000. It will keep reading because it is an endless loop. It will keep reading. It won't stop. It keeps reading. It will not stop. So this is an endless loop, or you call it forever loop. That's the name. Forever loop, a loop that will never end. That's the meaning. Forever loop. So please, when setting your loop, you should be very careful. If you make this true, then, or if you introduce a condition in which it will not stop, so actually it will never stop. So for this example, it will keep printing from 2, counting other numbers, 2, 4, increment of 2. So it will increment 2, 4, this, that, and then let's try this one, because I always try to bring up an example that you understand, like this one. So let me write in a for this it's counting 2, right? So 2 and counting 2, yeah, it print out 2, which is this, for example, and then plus a space here, and then it will print again. Since there is no ln, so it will be printing horizontally this way. 2, 4, 8, all that is even number without stopping. So let's quickly do it. We initialize from 2, and then we increment by plus equals to 2. That's increment by 2, and then we print out counter and a space, and then that's the only thing we see here. So if you run it, let's see, can you see it keeps counting 2? Since we said forever it keeps counting 2. Okay, keep counting 2. That means it will not even go out of this. It will keep repeating. Plus equals to 2, counter equals to counter equals to counter plus 2. So let me see this one. Alright, this is the correct one. But then what happens? Counter plus equals to it should work. So it's no. Let me run it again. Okay, this I said print element. I'm sorry. So I want it vertically, not horizontal. So print. Let me see what is happening here. Alright, I think it's working now, because at the interval of each printing, it prints my name. 2, that's where it started, and then it prints out something immediately being concatenated here, and it increments the next. After 2, when you add up 2 on 2, it becomes 4. It prints out the counter plus my name, 8, 10, and that's how it continues. This, you won't see the end of it. You see how it is? Continues. Okay, that's what happened even for the first time. I didn't see my output. So let's now remove this name. That means it will represent it with the space. So let me save and run it again. Alright, let me save it first. Save and run. It's because the looping is very disturbing the system. Okay, just want to make some changes, and then I'll print. So this is alright. Now I think it's wrong, or it will run. It's saving 6%. I think it has launched it now. Okay, let me see what will happen. Alright. So let me bring back my codes and save it. So I think I can now run the program. Well, it's because of the loop. I think we've seen the example of when it is running. It's because of the loop. In fact, it's even trying to hang the system. So that's how you print out an endless loop. It's not a good idea actually. Whenever you wanted to come up with a loop, and then the block you try to make it, you try to end it logically. So we have also a break. We have a break. So this break now, a break statement, it enables your infinite loop to terminate. Whenever you introduce a break statement somewhere, then it terminates your endless loop, which is very essential. What we mean here, it keep printing. When you run it, it keep printing your. And then if you try to break it somewhere, maybe at a point here, maybe you want it to print only to some point. If maybe 2 is exactly equals to, you can introduce an if statement that says if counter is equals to, maybe you just want to print to 20. If it is equals to 20, for example, then you break it up, introduce a command called break, and that means it's going to break out of the loop, and then the endless loop will get terminated. That is the meaning. Please go through the text we've given you. Let's run this program and see how it's going to run it. I think this is still running at the background, so let me remove this statement. So I'll go by creating another class. Let's see, back. All right, it has run now. Okay, it has run. I think you can see the result here. Okay, so that is the meaning. But then let me. Formerly it was running endlessly, and then later I introduced something like this. But for me to give you a correct thing, let me not just introduce it within the forever loop. Let me go for let me create another class and give it break statement. Break statement. Okay, what is it? Okay, break statement. I need kind of I need this. It is still running at the background, so I think I have to stop my either the console, and then I will initialize it again. That this finishes. So I reset the IDE. Actually, just matter of demonstration, but we don't really entertain this endless loop. It is not really recommended, but then it's good for us to showcase how it is being created. Okay, let me close the console, and I think now I'll be out of the loop, or else I have to close the IDE and start it again. Okay, let me close the IDE. Otherwise the system will really waste time. I'm starting the IDE afresh. That's because of the endless loop. So let's wait for it to load, and Okay, we are back now. The system is okay, and I think it was here I created the program. Okay, endless and break statement. So if you check on this forever loop, please let's check on this. This is what we have written. So let's copy a bit to the break statement. So the break statement, if this program, by the time we run this program, we are going to experience the same issue with forever loop. But then for us to solve that problem, we'll have to introduce another statement called break statement, and this is the break statement. It terminates the loop, it terminates the endless loop, so statement will not be executed over and over. But then you have to create a way of terminating. When do you want to terminate it? For example, if you run this program, it will endlessly run over and over, and it will keep printing multiples of 2, 4, 8, 10, 12. That's all. That's how it will continue printing till infinity. So if you want to do away with that infinity issue or forever condition of the loop, then you come up with an if condition, a control structure. You come up with that, and then you now create a condition that will end it logically. Maybe I just want to see from 2 to 24, for example. So I'm giving it a condition that if counter is equals to 2 to 24, then what do? You break. Break means terminate the loop. It will go out of the loop. Go out of the loop. It means what? Stop the loop here. Stop the repetition. And then it will go out of it. So let's run the program. If we run it, then the console is here. Can you see it stop at 24? But there isn't any condition at the condition, the counter condition or the loop condition. There is no any condition that says you should stop at 24. You introduce the condition yourself that stop there. This is important in cases whereby a user determines number of executions for the program at the cost of executing the program. So this is what we are demonstrating here. So you logically ended the loop using the break statement. So next is letting the user decide when to quit the loop. That's what I've just said. That sometimes user determines the number of executions he needs. So now instead of you ending it yourself by as in this code, instead of you ending it, okay, the video is running.